Hello YouTube on this hot summer day. I hope you enjoy your day, whether if it's at work, outside, whatever. I had some errands to run, but I can't even start them yet because there's no hot water. Life of the projects. I just can't wait till next year. I'm gonna be out of here. Like, that's my goal. Like, was trying to get a career, but if I don't, I'm trying to get a second job now and get the fuck out, because it's just, and I'm afraid when I move out, I'm gonna have low-key PTSD. Like, there's certain things that I've gone through that I know I'm not gonna go through in the next apartment, and it's just gonna be a shock. Moving to the projects was a shock because I never went through nothing like that. Just a lot of stuff I went through that's just inhumane. Pee on the elevator. Luckily I live on the first floor, so I don't have to go through that. But when I lived on the third floor, my first apartment, disgusting. Pee on the floor. Sometimes I would take the stairs, boo-boo on the floor. I can't make this up. And then it's like, one thing I don't understand, they supposed to be fixing the pipes, but why you need to fix the pipes so often? Now they don't do it as much, but I knew it was coming because they always turn the hot water off when it's a really hot day or around the holidays. It's never fails. Like, one time it was no hot water on Thanksgiving. Luckily, I took a shower beforehand and I was invited out. But imagine if somebody have company and the person spending the night. That's embarrassing. That's like your company can't shower. Because where they gonna go? You know what I mean? Like, I'll never forget that. It was Thanksgiving. And in the winter, I take showers at night. So I remember waking up and there was no hot water. When I got back, it was hot water. So. But yeah, God will make a way. I try not to worry about things because I know who sits on the throne and I know who's in control, right? But briefly, I wanted to talk to my ladies. Thank you for the new subscribers. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I will be talking about all topics. So I've been telling people to like, comment, and subscribe, and you've been doing it. Finally, if y'all seen my video from 2 weeks ago, I wasn't going to do no more videos because I'm like, nobody's liking it. It got to a point nobody was watching it. But I was like, you know what? I love talking, and you know what? I'm going to keep persevering. So thank y'all. Almost 300 people watched the Tubi thing. I was talking about Tubi. Thank y'all. Thank you to the new subscribers. I've subscribed to your channel as well. If somebody could like, comment, subscribe, and share my channel. Let your mammy know. Let your sissy know. Let your bro. Let the kids know. Yes, Crystal. This is Crystal's show. So I wanted to talk to my ladies. Now for me personally, men try to holler at me in the street my entire life. I would say the height of that was teenage years. I would say as soon as I started high school. I started developing whatever. So from high school age all the way till, guys still try to holler now, but I feel like the height of it was teenage years, and I want to say 27 or 28, like walking down the street and, yo, ma, let me get your number, and very consistent and will not give up. Over the years, it's been kind of slow. They'll still make a comment, but they don't actually, oh, let me get your number. For me, it's kind of died out. Like I told y'all about the guy I met at a party. He came up to me or whatever, but that hasn't really happened lately. Is guys will try to talk to me, but it's never, they don't get that far. I personally rather come up to the guy, because I'm not going to come up to a guy I don't like, but I'd rather make that decision. I don't like being put on the spot. But I talked about I wanted to talk about this because again, I forgot her name, but I'm subscribed to her channel, and she actually gives good advice. She actually talked about, if y'all really watch YouTube hard like me, she talked about how her narcissist ex, and she's a light-skinned woman, she wears blonde hair, and she said how she doesn't know, she gives any guy that asks for her number, she gives it to them in fear of her life. And I'm like, are we really that fucked up as a society that that's what it's come to? Like, no, I should, if I don't want to give you my number, I don't. I used to feel like that. I used to feel like her. I used to feel like that, like, because some guys are very intimidating. But now I'm at the age where I'm like, no, if I don't want to talk to you, I put my foot down and I set my boundaries straight up and down. Like, I'm not going to let no man intimidate me into sleeping with him, talking to him, or dating him. And I could truly say that in my past, I've allowed that because I was young and I didn't realize how powerful I am. But I don't allow that. At 35 years old, if you come up to me and you're asking for my number and I don't want to give you my number, I'm not giving you my number. And I'm guilty of it, you know, especially when I was 18. I let guys intimidate me. When I worked at Steiner Studios, I think I told y'all the story of the guy said he would not remove his vehicle. I was working overnight. So he was like, oh, I'm not going to remove my vehicle unless you give me your number. But best believe that next morning, I was like, listen, I'm not interested in you. I am now going to block you. Do not contact me. He goes, oh, you taking your frustrations out on me. Sir, I wasn't interested in you. Like, that's when I realized these, you know, some of these men are crazy. Because if you're trying to holler at somebody and the girl is saying no, why you keep asking? Just leave her alone. She's not interested. Just move on. There's plenty of other women in the world, and that's something I never understood. Like, why do men like to intimidate and try to, oh yeah, you're gonna make somebody like you. You're gonna make somebody. That's crazy to me. Now, if she's giving you ass or she's giving you play, like if it's a situation where she's playing both sides of the fence, that's totally different. But if the girl is telling you, hey, you know, no, how you going to talk about I'm not removing my vehicle until you give me your number, and you better give me your number right now. So I gave him my number, because if I would have called my supervisor, the supervisor would have looked at it like, okay, you can't do your job. You're going to have to do another shift. And at that time, I had no child care. I didn't have nobody to watch my son. My mom, she was watching my son overnight. She did not want to pick my son up, nothing. My father refused to pick up my son. It was the roughest time for me. 2015, it was really rough for me. Finally, I started working at Quality Protection Services, and I had a better schedule, 9 to 5. So that was cool. And then after that, World Trade Center. And then after that, I became a para. So I didn't need my father at all. But I'll never forget. And then there was a white guy. I gave him my email. I was not going to give him my number. And he tried to intimidate me and I was like, no, you look like a serial killer. And I don't care whatever. He looked like a damn serial killer. And he was like, oh, you think you all that? You think you a queen? I said, well, yeah, I do. And then why would you say that to me and you the one trying to get with me? That's one thing I didn't understand. Like, if you don't think I'm worth it, or if you don't think I'm all of that, why would you ask for my number? You know, so I gave him my email. There's another guy at the same job. And by the way, these men were not other security guards. These were construction workers. So Steiner Studios, they have Spider-Man, Power, different movies and different TV shows that they do on the set. And these men were responsible for building the set. The white guy was a construction worker. The other guy before him, he was like an Indian guy. I don't know what he was doing there. But I'll never forget, like, the next morning I was like, yo, I gave you my number so you can move your vehicle, but I am not interested. Like, I don't remember his name, nothing, because I stood my ground. I said, listen, I don't want to go out with you. We're not going out. That's when I started being more, you know, assertive with myself. Like, you're not going to force me on a date or to do anything, and I don't want to do it. Fuck is you. Like, you know. And a coworker, she taught me, she said, anybody who harasses you, and I wanted to tell my ladies, just because you give a guy your number, if you don't want him calling you, you have a right to block him. You have a right to tell him, hey, I'm gonna call the police. Remember I told you about my fourth stalker? He actually was an old coworker who tried to get with me for a long time. He tried to get with me in 2010, and then he tried to get with me 2018, and that's when he really went buck-out crazy. And I told him, I said, if you don't stop calling my phone, I'm gonna call the police. And luckily, laws have changed, ladies. A person doesn't have to pop up at your home to be a stalker. If the person is calling you 20 times a day, 10 times a day, that is a stalker. If they're calling you from different numbers, they are a stalker. If they're calling you from private, they are a stalker. Once you tell them to stop calling you and they continue, that is stalking. And I cannot stress that enough. And also, if you don't feel comfortable, try to alert somebody. So this young lady on YouTube, she was saying she gives her number to these men and she shows them respect because she don't know if they're gonna hurt her or not. If you feel that way, ladies, to be honest, try to get to the nearest clerk. If you're in a retail store, try to alert. Don't try to do stuff yourself. It's okay to let a sales associate, like, hey, this guy is bothering me. And listen, sometimes you don't even have to say anything. They'll come up to you, the person who works in the store, and be like, miss, are you okay? Because people could read energy, you know. And I thank God, and I just wanted to give a shout out. I want to thank God for the people who stepped in. I want to thank God for, you know, those moments when, whether it's a sales associate, somebody in the street, yo, leave her alone. You know, let's continue to do that. Let's continue to look out for each other. Let's continue to, if you out with a group of friends and you see, like, what was this last year? So the guy I was dancing with in the club, he kind of made me feel a little uncomfortable. And the good thing is, the guy that was with us, he was a friend of a friend. He didn't know me, but he was like, are you good? Are you comfortable? And I thank him for that because he, you know, he was looking out for me. The guy I was dancing with, he was a little weird, but I didn't feel threatened by him. Like, he kind of got the hint that I didn't want to dance with him no more. But let's keep doing that. You know, just because you don't have, to my fellas, just because you don't have any blood relative sisters, make sure you look out for your females, for your, you know, you out in a group and you see a woman that's uncomfortable, don't be afraid to step in. Because guess what? Your presence could save a life. And that's what y'all don't realize. Like, you standing up for her, you could be saving her life. And let's not be afraid to do that. But I had to make this public service announcement to be like, no, you don't have to give out your number. And if you do, put your foot down to say, hey, I am not interested. I gave you the number so you could leave me the fuck alone. And if you don't leave me the fuck alone, I am calling the police. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. And I can't stress that. I'm going to be doing this video every so often because it's summertime. And there's more crimes and stuff that happen, especially to my young girls, because that's when it really was happening to me. These guys were intimidating me into talking to them. I didn't want to talk to them, you know. And I can say that about, you know, not just my son's father, but him. It was another guy, and it was a few guys that I would say it was at least 3 guys I allowed to intimidate me into intimacy, you know. And if you don't want to do it, don't make somebody make you feel like you have to do it, you know. And then like no one's really forced me on a date, but I kind of felt like I had to, because I felt like they wouldn't leave me alone. And then by the time I turned like 20, that's when I was like, okay, I'm not going on no date. Even back when I was 18, I felt uncomfortable spending a guy's money. You know, if I knew I didn't like him, like I would just be like, no, you know. Like even the guy I told y'all, Shaheem, I never let him spend no money on me because I knew I wasn't interested, right? And I was afraid of him. I didn't realize it till it was all over. I was very much afraid of him, to the point that when I finally stood up for myself, he threatened me. He threatened my life. He really did. And it just showed he never cared for me. It's just he was obsessed. You're not going to threaten someone because they trying to keep their peace. Like, no. And I can't stress that to my young ladies. Like, you know, those of y'all walk in the street, and some of y'all might think, oh, it's because of the way no. There was times when I was in my uniform. Okay, I can't stress that. There was times, and for me in general, I didn't start wearing shorts until I moved out. So I wanted to say that, because some people might have this notion like, oh, because you dress a certain way. No, I am very modest in my dressing, and now that I'm a grown woman, yeah, you might see me in shorts and stuff, but all of this was going on when I had on jeans, a t-shirt. This was my teenage years, early 20s, when I wasn't even wearing shorts. When that guy was harassing me at work, 2 of them, I had my uniform on. When I was in high school, I had my uniform on. And back in my high school days, I was very modest. Like, I used to wear church clothes to Sweet 16s. Like, you know, I was very, very modest back then. So it's not even about the way you dress. And also back then, I didn't even wear makeup. I only wore makeup at prom. And I'm not really a makeup person. You know, like yesterday was a fine day. You know, I had my legging shorts that come down to almost my knee, fully dressed. And, you know, guys just complimented me. Nobody asked me for my number. You know, just a normal day. But every now and again, even though I'm older, I'll get a creep. But I shut it down. Like, I don't. And that's why I have to stress to my young ladies, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Okay? You're not interested in a guy, just say, hey, I'm not interested. You know? Don't let him push you into something that you know you don't want to do. And then also, sometimes you could be interested. It was one particular guy, I really did like him. And this is back when I was 18. And he was very handsome. He was very tall. His body was very perfect. Like, perfect biceps and triceps. He had to be at least 25, at least. And every time I seen him in the building, he always had a different girl on his arm. Like, I knew he was a free spirit. And I let him push me into something I didn't really want to do, because I wanted him to like me. And so I just wanted to briefly talk about that, because that happens not just in the neighborhood, but that happens, I know, to my young ladies in high school. Sometimes that can happen. Those of y'all that's teenagers, don't let him do that. You know, if you feel like you gotta open your legs for somebody to like you, no. You do what you want to do. Now, if you want to do it and that's how you feeling, that's completely different. But make sure it's under your control. That's why I say, now that I'm 35, I'd rather go up to a guy. You know, it's okay if he come up to me. Just like I told y'all, like, with Ivan, he came up to me. Nolan, he came up to me. Like, most guys that was really cute, they came up to me. The last dude, the current dude, whatever, my man crush forever, I went up to him. But yeah, I'd rather go up to the dude, because I don't want you to feel like you run this or you're in control or you're, And I think for some men, they rather that too. They rather a woman come up to them because that's how they know for sure the girl. That's how you know. That's how you know that the girl actually likes you too. It's good when the girl comes up to you because that's that sense of relief. Like, woosah, But yeah, to my ladies, I didn't like what she said. She's like, oh, she gives her number because she don't know if he's gonna cause her harm. No, you should never feel like that as a woman. And I feel sad for her that she feels like she has to give her phone number. Like, no, if you don't want to give your number, say no. And if they do intimidate you, you let them know, hey, I ain't interested. I'm blocking you right now. And if they want to get irate and act crazy, police. And my coworker taught me that. And I wish somebody would have told me that in my early years. If somebody acting retarded and they blowing up your phone, you police. And guess what? There are laws against that. This is not This is not the early 2000s no more, where somebody could just blow up your phone and nobody cares. People now realize that when people blow up your phone, it leads to stalking. Those are the beginning. And I can't stress that enough. And to my fellas too, if you got a chick and she's blowing up your phone and you told her you weren't interested and she's still blowing up your phone, that's considered stalking, okay? If she's coming up to your job, that's stalking. Call the police. And it's a stigma because we always talk about the ladies, but the fellas too. It's too many situations that I know of women who pop up at men's jobs. No, you cannot do that. He has a right to call the police, and yes, you will get arrested for stalking. It's serious now. They changed the laws. So I can't stress that enough. Don't let these people intimidate you or make you feel like you have to stay in their life. Somebody talking about I'ma kill myself if you leave me. Not worth it. Stand your ground. Stand your ground. And those are my thoughts.